Evidently, Google's Pixel launch strategy in India is limited to the A series now, as we all know. Even so, it has been kind of spotty because while we got the Pixel 4a, the Pixel 5a never reached our shores officially, which is why the launch of the Pixel 6a in our country brings along with it some excitement for the 137 fans in India. I'm just kidding. It's actually 37. Bad jokes aside, I'm Arshad, you're watching Trakin Tech English, and this is the new Google Pixel 6a. Now, the Pixel 6a looks exactly like the Pixel 6 and the 6 Pro, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's got this dual tone backing panel with a camera visor that looks like a phone version of Robocop. The only difference between the 6a and the 6/6 Pro is that the rear panel is actually made of plastic instead of glass. The plastic panel does help reduce the weight of the phone. It's at 178 grams, which is actually very low. And you also get IP rating, which is IP67. This is the highest, ingress protection that you can get in this specific price range. But since it's plastic, you do lose out on wireless charging, which I know that most of you don't really care too much about. While you might not care about wireless charging, we care about our subscriptions and the love that you can give us. So hit the red subscribe button and the bell icon right next to it to get notified whenever we put out an awesome new tech video. Also, while you're at it, don't forget to hit the like button and maybe even comment below for the sake of the YouTube algorithm baba. Now, the in-hand feel of the phone is good because it's got a small 6.1-inch OLED panel, which is smaller than the 6 and the 6 Pro. Therefore, it feels more comfortable to hold and use. And also, I really like the finish of this matte aluminum mid-frame. The Pixel 6a definitely feels premium and makes its presence felt among its peers for sure, and it's got this very important premium feature: no headphone jack. Now, while the design is good, I am kind of disappointed by the fact that the Pixel 6a only comes with a 60Hz panel on the front. Don't get me wrong, it's a bright, vivid panel with support for HDR across all apps like YouTube and Netflix as well. But 60Hz in 2022 is getting really old, and I don't even appreciate that on iPhones as well. I think all phones should come with a bare minimum high refresh rate panel of 90Hz at least. Now, completing that multimedia setup is the fact that you do get stereo speakers on the Pixel 6a. Now, it's good enough, but I've heard better from other Android phones in the same price range. Take a listen for yourself. Now, coming back to the disappointment around that 60Hz panel, it is further compounded by the fact that you get Google's best tensor chip, which is available on the 6 and the 6 Pro, is also there on the 6a as well. This is very similar to Apple's strategy, where performance is something that Google doesn't want to skimp out on this time, and it's definitely a huge upgrade over what we got on the Pixel 4a when it launched in India. Obviously, the tensor is a pretty powerful chip in this price class for sure, and it definitely competes against the likes of something like the Snapdragon 870, the Dimensity 1200, and the Dimensity 1300. Now, even if it doesn't really beat these chips in performance, the fact that there is hardware-software optimization done at Google's end itself lets it control the way the phone functions, and it's extremely fast, extremely responsive, and smooth. Only at 60Hz, unfortunately, which is my biggest concern. Now, coming to the cameras on the Pixel phones, and I don't even have to say this, everybody loves the cameras on Pixel phones. Now, you do not get the 50-megapixel primary sensor that you get on the Pixel 6 Pro, but you get the same old 12.2-megapixel primary sensor and a 12-megapixel ultra-wide as well. And of course, you get an 8-megapixel selfie camera as well on the front. But we all know by now that when it comes to the Pixel phones, hardware hardly ever matters, and it's mostly got to do with the kind of magic that Google runs with the software algorithm running in the background. For example, you get that awesome magic eraser feature, which has been improved using machine learning and artificial intelligence. I also absolutely love Google's real tone algorithm for skin tones. The kind of facial tones that you get are just so true to life. Not to mention that the HDR performance looks to be good too, albeit the fact that, highlights are slightly overshot a little bit. Maybe Google could have controlled that better. And generally, you see the magic in action in post-processing, not in the viewfinder when you're shooting it live. Now, the phone also locks in focus and shoots really fast. You can trust it to shoot moving objects with ease. Now, the problem is the pictures that you get from it are not very sharp compared to the kind of sensors that you get in phones these days. And low light performance again looks good, but again, the details are kind of soft. You can also shoot 4K 60fps HDR videos with the phone, and that does look good though. And of course, the sound recording is also pretty good. Now, the 12.2 megapixel ultra wide angle camera is a sharpshooter though, and you get near accurate color size consistency between the two sensors as well, which is a rarity in this price class. Now, you can shoot 8 megapixel selfies and they offer great facial tones, but again, it could have been sharper for sure. And the fact that, front camera video recording is limited to 1080p 30 fps has always been a gripe of mine. I think it should have been at least 4K 30 fps, so that's a bit of a letdown. This is a 1080p 30 FPS video capture on the front camera of the Pixel 6a. Now, as for the software experience on the phone, the Pixel 6a runs on Android 12, of course, and it's got a few Pixel-specific features to enhance your, experience. For example, there's this unique feature drop that happens every few months for Pixel phones. In fact, there was one that happened recently, and I made a short about it. You guys should go check that out. And apart from that, there's a hardware-level Titan M2 chip on the Pixel 6a, which is available on the 6 and the 6 Pro as well. And couple that with all of the security features in the software itself, Google is definitely prioritizing your privacy and security, which is a great thing. And of course, you've got the Material U engine, where there is this color picking from the wallpaper that happens, where it sets the system UI colors on the basis of the colors of the wallpaper itself. It looks very, very cool. That's something that I really love, and it's implemented really well. On the face of it, the software experience on the Pixel 6a is of course great, but we know by now that a lot of Pixel 6 and 6 Pro users have been complaining about the bugs that exist on their phones. But the Pixel 8 doesn't have too many bugs as such, but I did face a couple of times when the optical in-display fingerprint scanner wouldn't register my fingerprint, and it just wouldn't work at all, which also has been a problem with the previous Pixel phones. Now, the Pixel 6a has a fairly capable battery of 4410 mAh, which easily lasts you a day of usage with the kind of battery optimizations that Google does with the software itself. However, like I mentioned, no wireless charging speeds, and it's got painfully slow charging speeds of just 18 watt out of the box, and that's definitely not 2022 standards and doesn't compete with the peers at all, because at base you get at least 33 watts like you get on the Nothing Phone 1, and 67 watt is sort of like common across most Android phones these days. So the Pixel 6a is a confusingly good phone. The experience of using the Pixel is unparalleled. It's really, really good, and of course, which is why you find rabid fans of the phone in the industry. But then there are these dichotomies that you cannot escape. On one hand, you get this 4410 mAh battery, but then there are painfully slow 18 watt charging speeds and no wireless charging. You've got a good crisp HDR panel, but then it's only a 60 Hz refresh rate. You've got IP67 rating, but then it's a plastic back for a premium phone. Now, whether you can live with these compromises or not is something that you have to figure out. But I liked using the Pixel 6a. It's a unique experience that is unmatched, among other phones in the same price class. So guys, this is a quick segue because we already got the price of the device, and it's priced at 43,999. That's the MRP. But if you have an Axis Bank card, you can get a 4,000 discount on it, and if you have a Flipkart Axis Bank card, then you can get 2,000 extra. So you can get it for about 37,999. But I think most people will have to look for an Axis Bank card, and for those who don't have it, they will have to spend 44,000 for it. Now, I think that's a tad higher than what I expected it to be. It should have been at least 2,000 initial discount for regular buyers, priced at around 4140. Then it would have been perfect. But then again, pricing is their call entirely. So you'll have to take a decision accordingly whether you can live with the compromises that are there on the Pixel 6a and pay that kind of money for it as well. And one of the things that I forgot to mention also is the fact that the Pixel 6a comes with a short 3 years of software updates and 5 years of security updates. Now, 3 years also is low in this price range, considering that the Galaxy A series gives you promised 4 years of software updates. And that's obviously better. So there are other brands that are beating Pixel at their own game. Now, do let me know if you folks want any comparison with any other competing phones in the comment section below, and also let me know what you guys think of the Pixel 6a and if you have any specific questions. I wanted to keep this video short because I wanted to really get it out on time for you. So that's it from me. I'm Ashar. You're watching Trakin Tech English. Keep tracking and stay safe.